All right, we're
This is
ready.
live right now.
Yep. We're actually live somewhere, so someone could be hearing this.
No,
I
awesome.
think so. Okay, here we go.
I'm excited for them.
Is that nice?
It is.
Brandon Kelso, thank you for joining the show.
Well, thank you very much, Ken. I appreciate you having me on.
You just launched your 17th book. Describe to me what make these. Brandon, you've just launched your 17th book. Describe to me what makes these books unique.
These books are unique. First of all, they're Shakespeare for kids. That in itself can make any book unique. A lot of people don't feel that Shakespeare can be taught to kids, and there's a few out there who feel that it can. I have been teaching kids Shakespeare since 2004, and this 17th book is one that just proves it validates the fact that that Shakespeare can be taught to kids. So let me just tell you basically what Shakespeare for Kids is. I take Shakespeare plays, I truncate them down to about a 15, 20-minute melodramatic rendition. In here, it's mostly me being funny, and then I sprinkle Shakespeare lines throughout. It'll have things in there like Et tu, Brute, or For art thou Romeo, To be or not to be. All the famous lines are in there. So they're phrases and terms you will hear every day. So if the only Shakespeare you ever get is this, then you're still going to know it's Shakespeare. But in reality, when kids get to high school and middle school, they're going to get Shakespeare. So what I realized a long time ago is that Shakespeare is in high school not well received. So when we do them as a play format melodramatically earlier in their age, they adapt, they take to the language, they take to the stories, they take to the characters a lot easier. When it's melodramatic, kids love to die on stage. So this is what makes my books unique in that sense, is they love Shakespeare. They think Shakespeare is fun. They think Shakespeare is great. And when these kids get to high school, they're not intimidated by Shakespeare.
When you say at a high school level, it's not well received. Tell me, in your opinion, why is that? Maybe you can elaborate a little bit.
A lot of it is the kids are asked to just read the text. And let's say in a class of 30 kids, 4 or 5 may be able to just read the text directly and understand and get a concept of what's going on. Majority of the kids cannot. And honestly, majority of the adults cannot. I've talked to so many adults that when they read my books, they suddenly say, wow, I actually know what the Hamlet's about now. Or, hey, Macbeth, that's a great story. Now I know why it's called the Scottish play. It's interesting that the language is so different than what we speak today. It makes it so much more challenging for the kids to grab onto. And I'm on Twitter all the time, and one of my keyword searches is teach and Shakespeare. And many times I'll get teenagers in high school that'll tweet, why is my teacher teaching me Shakespeare? Why can't they be teaching me Eminem or something else? And it's sad because they immediately have a hatred for Shakespeare when, if approached correctly, they would have a love for Shakespeare.
You say in there that a majority of your interpretations of the plays are funny. Describe a little bit about kind of how you do that. What angle do you take? You say kind of in how you interpret it, but describe a little bit about your approach to making it humorous.
First of all, I visualize them on stage. I picture a little bit of slapstick, a little bit. The tragedies are always funnier than the comedies because A, there's always more action. B, kids get to die on stage. Most kids love to melodramatically die, have sword fights. And if you take the basic storyline of Shakespeare and then just modernize them and throw a little sarcasm in there, and when someone dies, they're like, oh, that's gonna hurt. And then they die. A perfect example, Julius Caesar, when he's getting stabbed and he's dying, he says, oh, this really hurts. And then he looks and he says, "Et tu, Brute?" And Brutus looks at him and says, "Huh? What does that mean?" And then Caesar says, "Oh, it's Latin for you too, Brutus. Sheesh." And he dies. And the kids love it. The audience laughs. And it's something they remember forever. And they still got the "Et tu, Brute," which is probably the most famous phrase in Julius Caesar next to the Ides of March. So I do little things like that throughout all the plays and all the books.
I wanted to put the focus a little bit on you at this point and how you came to this point of writing these books. Yours was not a typical path to get to the point of, dramatic instruction or dramatic teaching. Tell a little bit about your experiences, your education, and then what brought you to the point of teaching Shakespeare for kids.
That's a great question, Ken. I am an engineer by degree, and I spent 20 years doing engineering. However, I've always loved plays, performing in plays. I I was never very fond of Shakespeare. I have ADHD. I have some dyslexia, so the language was actually very challenging for me, and I didn't really understand it until one day in high school. I was in a Shakespeare soliloquy competition, and I took second place. And this was in all of Northern California. So I had a talent for the creative aspect of the acting, but it was rehearsing it 50 to 100 to 200 times where I really started understanding what was being said. And so it made me appreciate Shakespeare at the time, but I still didn't really, it was not easy for me just to pick it up and read it and understand it. And even when I saw a play, I could get gist of the story. Fast forward, I go to college, I get an engineering degree, I do engineering for a number of years. I actually become a product development, director of innovation, director of research and development at a company. And it was my creative nature that always kept me going with the engineering. But it was also on the side, I would do little Shakespeare things with my wife's school. And I found out that one day back in 2004, I taught this Hamlet in a can. I wrote up this little thing for her kids in her class, and we had fun. We performed it, no big deal. And then I quit the job I was at because my son was born. And I said, hey, I'll look after him for a while. I didn't really care for that job. And being that he's a newborn, he spent most of the day sleeping. So I spent most of the day watching movies. And at that point, my wife came home and she says, you do need to make some money. So she signed me up to teach a Parks and Rec class. And I was like, what? But the next week, I started the class. I did the Hamlet one. And what was so great, the kids, it was so well received by the kids that they literally just kept coming up to me going, what are we doing next? And I was like, whoa, we're doing Midsummer. And I went home that weekend and wrote Midsummer. But at the same time, I had a homeschool mom from another city come over and say, hey, I loved what you did here with Hamlet. I want you to go do that with my homeschool group. And I said, well, you're kind of far away. And she said, I'm not really asking you. I'm telling you. So I said, okay. And it kind of moved from there. And then a couple theaters bought my Hamlet script. So I realized that there was this market for it. But in the same time, I got this job at a local company where I was at, and obviously it paid quite a bit more. So I had to do that. But I still did the books on the side. And then in 2008, I decided to finally publish my first book. And I said, okay, I'm going to put in all this money. I'm going to publish it. If it sells and takes off, I'll write the second one. And I did Midsummer and Midsummer for Kids, and it worked. Then Romeo and Juliet, and so forth and so on. And about 2.5 years ago, I quit. Now I just teach classes full time. I write full time, and it doesn't pay what I was making before, not even close. But I spend a lot more time with my son. I love what I do, and I actually can sleep stress-free at night.
So in looking at the books, were the books the inspiration for the plays? Were the plays the inspiration for the books? Did the two go hand in hand as you saw the vision kind of playing out?
In the beginning, it was just I wanted to write it in the same type of format that Shakespeare. I mean, Shakespeare's words are written in play format, so I wanted to be true to Shakespeare stories. I wanted to be true to the play format. I wanted to be true to what Shakespeare was doing, and just kind of reflect that onto um, what was going on. Hey, dude, hold on.
Yeah, go
Let
for
me
it.
pause for 1 second.
Yeah, go for
All
it.
right, hold on. I'll be right back.
10-4.
Sorry about that, man.
No problem. Hold on one
Where,
second.
where was I?
Yeah, you may not make as much money, but you're having fun at what you do. Um, I thought in my head I was making jotting down some notes from what you had said. Um,
What was your original question?
well, it didn't go down the way that I wanted to. I said, was the inspiration, was it the books leading to the plays, plays leading to the books, or the two come together, which I thought was kind of stupid after I heard it, but I swear I mean, you're sounding great. I feel like I'm a bumbling idiot over here.
You
Okay.
know, you're not. You're doing fine. Hey,
Uh,
you know, it's actually
you gotta go.
it's probably much more challenging for you because I know my subject matter, and you have to say the right
Well,
question at the right time.
and I know what you mean. It's like it's if we were side by side, this would be a boom, 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 side by side. But man, I'm sitting there looking at this going, to do, asking questions and answering. It's just like, dude, no, this has got to, I gotta figure out either an editing or whatever. I mean, because I gotta jazz it up a little bit. You got some energy, and I feel like I'm reading off, cue cards. It sounds stupid, but that's okay, man. That's okay. Like we're getting in there. This
In
is a
other
good thing.
words,
Okay, so you quit your engineering job, you're not making as much money. Yeah, you talk about
I said all
that.
that, but you did your question. Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah, basically, which was a
Did you want to
which is
ask
a
that?
fascinating question. I can cut it out after. It's fine. I already did that. That's okay. Okay, so let me just go to this here.
Just go to
Okay,
whatever.
are you ready?
Yeah, fire.
Okay. Okay, Brendan, I've read through your books, and you have a really interesting take on how you structure your books. I'd like to kind of mention that just a little bit. You structure them almost with a teacher in mind, and it's kind of, and I'd say, well, you would say tailored towards the number of kids that's the play is intended for. Mention a little bit about that and what your intent is in structuring it in such a way.
You're absolutely right, Kenny. I mean, I do structure it strictly for the teachers. I think in my mind, because when I first started this, it was for a class. So what I do is there's 3 plays in every single book. There's 3 plays for 3 different cast sizes. So if you have 5 or 6 kids, you can do a play. If you have 17 or 18 kids, you can do the play. You just go to the bigger script. And then in there, I have all the doubles of what characters can be doubled up. So the first play may be for 5 to 8 characters. The second play in the book may be for 9 to 14. And the third play may be for, I don't know, 12 to 17. And those numbers vary book by book. And the main reason why is in Macbeth, people die. So they can get doubled up a lot easier. And in stories that are comedies where people don't die, I can't shrink the script. So in Macbeth, we can pull it off with 5 characters. In Midsummer Night's Dream, you need 8 or 9 characters as a minimum, or actors. So that every story is very independent. Treasure Island, the big story, it has like 22 characters. In Henry V, it's got 20 characters. But in Pride and Prejudice, our big one has 16 characters as a max. So it's what characters are key characters in there that are important. but it is set up for a teacher. So no matter what class size or what group size you have something that can work with little effort on your part from cutting and editing.
Your writing and research process, I would say, for this also must be unique because you're tailoring it to an existing story, but you're doing it in your way. Talk a little bit about your approach and your process for, again, doing the research and doing the writing.
Okay. And keep in mind, I have done so many of these books, and I do have co-authors that now, after I've done my first 6 books, they came in and they started writing the basic scripts following my format and my techniques. But basically, whatever story it is, I read the entire book first. And then I'll go through and I'll watch every movie. I'll read all the cliff notes, and then I'll research all the famous phrases. And I want to make sure that I'm capturing all the essential moments in a story, because when you take a play like Hamlet, which runs 4 hours, and you bring it down to like an 18-minute show, you're cutting a lot and you're getting very succinct to your points, which also adds to the humor of it. So, what may take 3 pages for Polonius to come in and get killed, he gets knocked out, he sneezes, gets stabbed. Whoops, thought it was Claudius. Oh well, Mom, I'm still mad at you. And it moves on from there. So it's super quick and it's funny and anecdotal. So it's it's very tricky that way, because you have to capture just the essence, the key critical points of the story, which is actually some of the beauty of it. In 20 minutes, somebody can grab the essence of the story and say, I know what Hamlet's about. I get it. I know the basic storyline. And then they can step into the actual script and go from there. I tell teachers all the time, especially high school teachers, use my books as a jumping off point. This way they can laugh, think Shakespeare's
Okay.
okay. They can understand the basic characters,
Are you
and they
still
can
there?
understand
You're
the
totally
base.
cutting out.
Oh, am I?
Yeah. You came back and said, I told teachers, and I think I lost you after that.
Oh, well, I'm still here.
Okay.
Oh, I think I know why. Is that better?
Yeah. I mean, you're still here.
Hold on, let me check my heart rate on my watch. Yeah, I'm still alive. All right, can you hear me now? Am I cutting out?
No, you're okay. Right now, you're okay. I'll let you
Okay.
know if you do. You good?
Okay, cool. So yeah, so let me elaborate on that one piece. Hold on, give me a second too. I always tell teachers that teach Shakespeare at a ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th grade level to use my books as a jumping off point. And very simply, if they read my book in class one day, they do it as a reader's theater, super simple, and they just randomly hand out parts, the kids get 3 things from it. One, in 15, 20 minutes, they understand the basic storyline. 2, they laugh. They think Shakespeare's cool. And 3, they understand the basic characters of the story. Once you have those 3 things, then you can step into the bigger script, into the actual play, and you're going to start looking at it as, hey, Shakespeare's cool. I understand where they're trying to get to in this story. I understand what they're trying to do. And it makes it easier to bridge that education and layer that education.
So, man, you're editing Shakespeare. That's pretty gutsy, right? That's quite a challenge.
Maybe I don't see it as that. I just see it as something that's fun to do. I see it as something that kids love to learn. So I don't look at it as a challenge. I look at it as something that's needs to happen. It's, getting kids to love Shakespeare is pretty amazing. I mean, if you think about, he brought in somewhere between 3,000 and 5,000 words into our language, our everyday language. Alligator, Dalmatian, elbow, eyeball, obscure, in my mind's eye. There's so many phrases and words that we use every day that you
You're tinning
don't
out on me.
even, uh,
You're
I
still
don't know
there?
what to say. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Good part is you were just talking about you were talking about you there?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hold on a second. Let me think about something. Hold on.
All right.
I'll be right back.
Okay. I'm pausing you.
Yeah, he is. I was thinking that somebody else might be using more bandwidth, but I don't know.
I don't know, man. I noticed that like I took a picture of I heard something and I took a picture of my setup with like your Shakespeare for Kids my laptop in the back. Kind of cool, you know, like our
Mm-hmm.
first one. And when it saved it, I noticed a little tinging. So I was like, I think like last time, maybe it's picking up on interference
Yeah,
when, you
I
know,
turned off my email and I turned off my messenger on my computer, so it wouldn't make any other noises.
did you hear that noise initially when I adjusted my volume? Like little bring. Did you hear that earlier?
I did not
No.
hear a bring.
Okay, good. I hope it didn't show up.
No. What was that sound again?
Bring. Kind of like that.
Okay, just I just want to make
Bring.
sure I heard it
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I'm good at sounds.
Bring.
Bring. I'm having fun. I gotta loosen up a little bit, bro. I gotta
Yeah,
loosen
you have
up.
a beer in front of you, dude.
I know.
All I got is coffee, dirty laundry, and farts.
Yeah, well, you know,
Pause it.
I gotta. This is fun though. Gosh, I just, you know, the good part is if you're doing great and I'm sucking and I can only go up. That's all I'm like. I can only go up. I can only
Good,
go up.
because what you just told me is I can only go down. So
No,
I appreciate that encouragement.
no. Often you want to hear that I can only go down, but not in this case. You want I can only go up. Okay.
Whoa, easy, easy. Wrong
So
crowd, wrong crowd.
yeah, exactly. This is a family show. We are live, so we got to watch out.
Yeah, I don't know
All
who we're watching.
right.
Won't they tell us if somebody's on
I think
watching
we
you?
would see it if it popped
No,
up. I
you're
think
being watched by one person.
or does it say anything? Just you. And I see Shakespeare there.
Just
All
you.
right, there you are. It's flipping. It's flipping because of the voice. So now you talk.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Because I'm
Yep.
talking, and when I
Yep.
talk, it's
It
what's
goes
flipping.
to it goes like your screen goes back. It goes back to your screen.
Mine doesn't do that at all.
Oh,
I
mine
just
does
have
it.
a I just have a big red, and then mine is in the lower right.
So when you talk, it doesn't have your little Shakespeare thing in the
Nope.
middle. Oh,
Nope.
that's odd. Oh,
No.
mine does it.
Well, no,
Are
it's
you
a
using
setting.
Chrome? Are you using Chrome?
Yeah. Yep. Google Chrome. I just have it on a tab. Well, let me see. Let me look. Let me look. Ignore mute. No. Mute. Profile mute. Settings. Add apps. No. Control room. You are in a moderated video call. Okay. Other settings. FaceTime. Default voice. Report additional diagnostics. Microphone. Speaker. HD camera. There it is. Okay. So you see in the lower right-hand corner, you see how that switches on and off?
Hold on.
You see how, or you talk?
I'm talking right now. It says you. It says you. And it has me.
Interesting.
And I'm the red. So now when you said interesting, it popped up with your little Hamlet face. I got to get something. on there. So it,
Are you on Google Chrome?
yeah.
Okay, because if you go down to the lower, you have a small window in the lower right.
But wait a minute. Do you have a, you do have a camera on there, don't you, or no?
I have it turned off.
What are you using? Okay,
Oh,
we have your camera turned off. That's why it's not popping up.
right. So turn yours off, dork.
Well, I mean, I just have tape over it. I
Okay,
don't want
you're
to screw
not
stuff
getting.
up at this point.
No, you won't. Just turn it off. It's still live.
Yeah, well, here. Hold on. There. Turn it off.
Can you hear me? Yes. You screwed everything up, dude.
You're so funny. You're so funny. You're so funny.
More gassiness.
Oh boy. All right. It's 11 o'clock. I need to
Now
be at
is
work in 6 hours. No,
is
not
that
6 hours.
flipping back and forth now?
Yeah, but instead of
It is
you're
still.
seeing probably just, I don't know, you're seeing a blue little dotty dot thing, or little
Yeah,
icons are
all I
flipping.
got's a little blue Audi dot, but mine doesn't flip back and forth.
Oh, well, see, I get, whenever you talk, the little Shakespeare head or Hamlet head pops in the main view from the bottom right, and then vice versa.
No, whenever I talk, see, I can switch which one's there by picking the box in the lower right.
Well, it should also do it to
So
your voice.
do you have a box in the lower right?
Yeah,
Yeah, see, it
yeah.
doesn't do it to my voice. It just does it.
Oh, wait a
It
minute.
just
I
does
see a
whichever
setting
one I
here.
pick.
No, wait, I see a setting here. Hold on, wait a second.
Yeah.
Says if you are seeing the person talking in the main window as that person is speaking, it means that you're totally awesome. Oh, well, they just answered it right there. So
Wow, that
if you don't, you're a
loser,
loser. Yeah, I couldn't
loser.
see the L. I had a little speck on my laptop, but apparently, yeah.
Oh, jeez,
They're
and
so
that's
damn smart. That's the thing. Like Google, they know everything. That's what blows me away about them, is that they're so intuitive. I don't know if it's the information that they gather from their, their search engine or what, but boy, it's like they know everything. They know everything, man.
they knew I was a loser and you were pretty smart.
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of people know that, but the fact that Google knew it and they made it part of their documentation, that's just
Yeah, that is
blows
impressive.
me away. They're very intuitive.
That is
They're very intuitive.
wow. Wow, that's just amazing.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Da, 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 do, 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 do. Okay.
Okay, now are we cutting out?
No, we're doing good. I'm hearing you and
Okay,
you're hearing
so
me. Are you hearing me okay?
yeah, but I was in the middle of saying something good, and then I think I was cutting out, and it got all killed. I'll
You
make
were
my sentences shorter.
talking about, gosh, you were talking about, where did you leave off at?
I did the jumping off point for teachers.
Yeah. You want to
Did you
transition
hear
into
that?
teachers now?
Sure.
Wait, no. What jumping off point?
So you use my
Page.
books. So in classes that are like ninth to 12th grade, you would use my books. I I coach teachers to use my books as a jumping off point. In other words, it's a transition to the actual text. So you will use my book to read the story in your class like a reader's theater. You randomly hand out parts, and the kids get three basic things from it. One, they laugh and they have fun with Shakespeare. Two, they understand the basic storyline. And three, they understand all the basic characters, which once they have that basic foundation underneath them, then they can step into the actual text and the story will start making more sense, basically layering education.
What's some of the feedback you've received from the teachers? Let me say that again. What's some of the feedback you've received from the teachers?
The feedback I receive from the teachers, it's amazing. It's, I don't talk to them too often, but about once every 4 or 5 days, I'll get an email from a teacher thanking me for writing the books. It's really weird because I just think I'm Brendan, no big deal. But then I will actually have people that'll write and say, I'm your biggest fan. And it's weird to have a fan when I just am who I am. And so I actually have a group of teachers in Houston that this year are putting together an elementary Shakespeare festival on Shakespeare's birthday, April 23rd, for all the schools in their school district because they all really love my plays. And for me, that's just fantastic. It's amazing. And I'm so excited for it. But then when I start talking to more teachers in different parts of the country, they keep coming back again and again. And I tell teachers now, I said, be careful if this is your first time ever teaching one of my plays, because what's going to happen is your kids are going to ask for more. And it's so neat when you have kids asking for more Shakespeare. It is so much amazing and fun. All right, hey, dude, baby's up. I got to
Yep.
go.
Gotta go?
I got to go. Yeah, let me call you back in about 10 minutes.
Okay, call me back.
All right, see ya.
So